Hi everyone. Today's video podcast I'm going to share with you. I'm going to try and answer the myth: is writing a viable career? The financial reality exposed. Now, keep in mind that this advice that I'm giving currently are the advice I'm giving myself, and based on what I know now. And this advice is not necessarily set in stone. It's simply me talking to myself. Now, if you started with me in this episode series of writing excuses, you'd realize that I said earlier on that these excuses are the excuses I've made and I've come up with, and this series is a way for me to bust those excuses and move on, so I can start making progress as a writer. Now, as much as possible, I would be saying you. Also know that I'm referring to myself, and I'm also referring to you. Now, I would love for you to share your own story with me. Please do that in the comment section, and also do that probably through email or go to the website buildwriting.com/podcast. Now, in today's episode, we're talking about: is writing actually a viable career? The financial reality exposed. One of the things I would more say is that with the internet, with the digital landscape and everything, making money online has become more democratized. So what I mean is, in the past, if you wanted to be a writer, probably the only way you could make money as a writer is if your work got accepted or published by a reputable publishing company. And then your work will go popular, and you get royalties and all that. You could get a movie made based on your book, and if the movie did well, you get royalties too from the movie. That was like how you'd make money. Well, the digital landscape, a lot of things have changed. Now there's what we call self-publishing, which it means that I can actually publish my own book in less than 5 minutes online, and people can access it, people can read it, people can buy it if they want to buy. Yeah. Now, of course, it doesn't mean that the fact that it's easy to do doesn't mean that it's necessarily easy to get those results. It just simply means that if you're willing to do the job, you could also publish traditionally, but if you don't get accepted traditionally, you can also share your work outside with the world, which is a good thing in a way. Now, since these opportunities have arisen, it means that a lot of other ways people could make money. Now, for me, when I think about making money as a writer, the things that come up in my head are three major things. The first is you can make money writing through writing itself. You can make money talking about writing or teaching writing, whichever you'd call it. And you can make money through related tasks related to writing. So what I'll explain each and every one of them and possibly give examples. Now, writing itself, what does that mean? It means depending on the kind of writing you do, if you are a poet, for example, you could make money through writing a poem, publishing it, and probably getting paid for it. So if you submitted your work to a magazine, you could get paid if your work got accepted, and if your work got your book, your anthology, chapbook, or collection got accepted, you could get paid. Now, that's a way. If you got published, you get paid from royalty from book sales and all that. That's one way, like you're making money directly from your poetry. The other thing, there is a form of performance art called spoken word poetry or slam poetry. Now, when if you're pretty good at slam poetry, you've written a lot of good poems, which you then perform. So it's basically two sides. You need to be good at writing good poems, and you need to be good at performing them. It's more like music too. You need to write a good song, and then you need to be really good at performing it. And yeah, so if you're pretty good, people could invite you to come perform spoken word, slam poetry at events, occasions, and you could get paid for it. Now, of course, it doesn't mean this is not something you just like start at once. There are a lot of intricacies that go into it, but generally you could get paid for that. Now, the question is, how do you get noticed for the spoken word? I'm using poetry to give an example, of course. How do you get noticed as a spoken word artist or poet and all that? And one of the ways is that there is digital platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and depending on the one that speaks to you. So you can actually write your own poetry and the kind of poetry that you like, and the topics, the subjects, the issues, the themes that you love to write about. You write those spoken word poetry, you perform it live on camera, and you publish it. It does really well. People like your stuff. People comment, people request that you make other ones too. And so you make those ones too. And sooner or later, people will start reaching out to you that, I heard you in California. I was doing this event. So are you willing to come? Stuff like that. And yeah, basically, it's more like as you get online, people get to see you and people like the way you talk and everything. They could also invite you as a speaker. So that's what I'm saying, you could get invited as a poet. So even though you're talking, you're not necessarily talking about poetry, performing the poetry you've written. So that's one way to like make money with writing itself. Now, of course, one of the things I would say is that what kind of writer do I really look up to that I would like to be that kind of writer? Of course, we're all unique in our own way, but you look at them, what are they doing? You get, how do they necessarily make money as writers? Most of them, they have full-time jobs, and most of them have full-time jobs. And sometimes it's writing related, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's teaching related. That's why I talked about talking or teaching about writing. Now, some people depending on the field, depending on their background and their field, they have skills in um, teaching writing. Let's say you study English and literature, you could become a professor of creative writing and all that, and teach it. Yeah, and so you could get paid as a professor teaching and talking about writing or looking at stuff a bit. So that's one way. Yeah, that's one way most people make. And then the other one is related tasks. So with related tasks, what I mean is, take for example, you could own a literary magazine. Now, of course, I'm not going to say a literary magazine makes a lot of money, but you could own a reputable literary magazine and as a business in a way. But then the related task itself is when you could get paid as an editor. A lot of opportunities like that. So if you're really, really good with words and all that, people could send their work out to you and you proofread it for them. It depends on the kind of proofreading they want. You give them detailed analysis of what's and what is in the work and what they could probably change and everything and send it to them, and you get paid for that. Yeah, so that's related to that one. You're not necessarily talking about writing, you're not necessarily teaching writing. Yeah, you're giving feedback on writing. There are different kind of editors. There are editors who give feedback on writing, and then there are editors who just correct the stuff. Yeah, they just proofread, they correct, they make the necessary changes, and then they send the work out to the writer or the person in the client. So yeah, that's so the three major ways I think about writing, making money online is writing itself, talking about writing or teaching writing, related tasks or related feeds of writing. Now, right now, my mind is like coming up with something close, and I would want to put it in related tasks, but not necessarily related tasks. So it's having a business as a writer. So what does it mean? Having a business as a writer. With the digital landscape and everything happening, one of the things you could do is you could have a literary magazine. You could have a literary magazine, you publish, you talk about stuff and everything. And people are listening to it. And there are a lot of ways you could monetize that as a platform. Another way is you could have a blog, write a blog and stuff like that. There are diverse ways you can monetize and make money online as a creator in this digital age and time. Yeah. And one of the things I noticed is that most writers, they do write and then they also have a part-time related task to their writing. So probably there will be an editor at the magazine, there'll be something else, and they will write. Well, there are other writers who are privileged and lucky enough to have writing as their full-time job. That's what they do. You get usually when you're just starting out, you just cannot you don't really have that opportunity because you have bills to pay and you've not really have work that have been published, and a traditional publishing company has separated that it's really, really great and it's really, really good. So you have to you have to do something else and write on the side too, which in a way it's great and it's good too. So if there is any part of the monetization strategy I talked about that you'd like me to go deep into, let me know, and I would make a video or podcast episode breaking down each one. And for me now, I have some notes that I would want to share. It said writing income can be unpredictable and varies widely between authors. Okay. Yeah. Now, many successful authors maintain other jobs, especially early in their careers, before they make a name for themselves, before they master their craft, before they get really, really good at it. You need something to support you, while chasing writing. While others, they love writing on the side too, while having a job, or probably because maybe the writing itself doesn't pay enough to have a full-time job. But I don't just know. Funny thing about writing is that there are different paths that lead to where you want to go. So it's not like, oh, this is the path. If you don't go through this path, you're wasting your time. You're making a mistake. No, that's the path that could work for you. There are other paths you could take to get to that destination itself. So the question is, how can you possibly, now that we've looked at the fact that there are a lot of paths and a lot of ways you could make money online, I want to quickly go, what are the practical ways you could make money online? The first one is you want to diversify your writing income streams. So the first question is, ask yourself, of all the three methods or the four methods I shared, which one of them are you going to use to make money online? So you could you could create books, you could create articles, you submit your work to magazines, and you probably get accepted and all that. Then you could also build an author platform. So if you're an author, you could build a social media following and such like that, so that when people can buy your work directly, you could self-publish it and all that. So the whole idea of self-publishing is that you get to publish your work, but then you're also the marketing team, you're everything. Like, yeah, you're everything. And in a good way, it's stressful, very stressful, but then you get to keep the profit that you otherwise have shared with these traditional publishing companies. And also, you get to put your work out there and let the audience, the market decide if the work is any good, rather than having someone just write off your work even before they read the first line and say, "Oh, this is terrible. Who are you? I've never heard of you. Your face looks ugly. I don't like your face. You're not smiling. Your work cannot be any good. You're from this gender. You're from this ethnic group. You don't have anything you could say or something like that. You could do that. You could be on auto platform and say your work directly. So a lot of writers out there do that, and they say their work outside. So you can consider self-publishing alongside traditional publishing attempts. Yeah, you could check both of them. So self-publishing, you can publish your work directly on Amazon and other self-publishing platforms, and then market your work itself and allow the market, the audience to decide if the work is any good. And then you could develop business and marketing skills to complement your writing. Yeah. And the sweet thing is that as apart from being a writer, a creative writer, you could also there are other forms of writing that you could also get paid and paid a lot for. And for me, I would say that as a creative writer, it usually is easy to move into such other fields that involve writing. I want quote unquote easy because it's not like there won't be much work to do, but it's like you already write, and so you have a way with words already. So usually you just need to learn a couple of things, practice, and you get pretty good at other forms of writing. And then you can use all those other forms of writing to foot the bills while you chase other forms of creative writing you love to do. So the other forms of writing you could get before is copywriting, content writing, yeah, those kind of writing, yeah, different ones. And you can research on that you could try out, and then you get paid a lot. Like, it's very straightforward. You write for a company, you write for a blog post, you do copywriting for them, and then you get paid. And yeah, basically that's it. Okay, so the thing is, the first thing you want to look around is your authors making money from writing itself. Yeah, either various ways. Yeah, your authors. Now, currently, I don't have a statistics, but there are, and you could look around and see what are authors doing, what are they, how much are they making, stuff like that. Yeah, so the fact itself that they make money means that there's an opportunity for you out there to make money. So the question is, which one of these approach are you going to use? That's just the question. Okay. So your challenge today is you have to research and list 5 potential income streams related to your writing skills, and then you could share your most creative, unexpected idea. Yeah, just research 5 income streams related to your writing skills. So, what are your writing skills? What do you do? What do you like to write? What have you written on before? And then you see there are a lot of opportunities out there for you to write, and of course, there's a lot of training and courses out there for you to hone your skills and get really good at writing itself. So far, we've looked at the main takeaways about the financial realities of a writing career. And I want to also remind you that the path is not always straightforward, yeah. And it's not like there's this straight road. And everybody's path is usually different. But the whole idea is that we know where we'd want to go to, at least most of the time, not all the time though. And with persistence, creativity, business savvy, and every other thing, writing indeed can be a viable career. And yeah, there's an opportunity. This is me to myself. There is an opportunity in writing. And I want to ask you if this episode gave you a new episode, if this episode gave you a new perspective on writing as a career, share it with a fellow writer who might be wondering about the financial side of the craft. And join us tomorrow when we'll be discussing if you really actually need to know about everything about your story before you start writing. So far, I have been your host, Oyemi Konam, and you'll be listening to the Be Writing Podcast. Until next time, keep writing.